family, one people, one planet, one love, one family, one people, one planet, one love. Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday. My name is Lisa Ferrero. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. Wherever you are this Sunday after the big holiday and celebrations wrapping up around Hanukkah and just beginning, of course, with Kwanzaa, and whatever it is you celebrate in light and sound from the beauty within the cradle of your own consciousness and your own heart, we welcome you with us this morning. The subject today is going to be catch and release as we wind our way into the new year of 2021. And before we get into catch and release, let's just take a moment to get ourselves centered and present with where we are right in this instant, this moment we call time, in the time-space continuum, which we participate wholly with this beautiful being we call the body and the consciousness and the mind and the spirit, where they all converge in this wonderful confluence of beautiful consciousness. So just taking a deep breath in, just hold your breath for maybe 5 seconds and then exhale. And one more time, just taking a slow breath in and hold. Allow that feeling of gratitude being full. And then exhale. Oh, beloved infinite, we give great thanks for this opportunity to be together in community, our conscious global community of SoulCall, where we recognize that residing within each one of us is the spark of infinite potential. And may we bring that forth as the being which is named us. It's Lisa, it's Natalia, it's Christy, it's whomever happens to be inhabiting this beautiful being. May we bring forth the qualities of the soul this year and ignite that passion that which is uniquely ours, our gift to share. As we exchange gifts this holiday season, may that sacred gift of the passion of our soul be the one that is most precious in our being, but also most widely shared in how we live, move, and have our being in the world. We give great thanks, knowing that that gift, though it shows up in various forms, it is in fact the gift of love. It is the gift of love. In that oneness, we feel that global community come together as if we are all taking a step in each other's shoes, so to speak, but also alive in each other's cells, so that when we're standing before love in each other, we can awaken it. We can awaken that light, that cosmic intelligence. Now let's just take a moment to turn within and allow this song, The Gift of Love, allow your consciousness to ride on the waves of Om. Just muted myself. Bringing in this light, filling ourselves with light. So imagining that we are filling up as if we're standing under a waterfall, a gentle cascading waterfall of light. And allow that light to just come in through the top of your head and gently roll through the inside of your body, all the way down through your torso, through your legs, and back down into the earth. Just allow yourself to stand under this cascade of light, allowing whatever needs to be washed away, which no longer serves you, as you unfold into this beautiful new flower of life, vibrant with cosmic intelligence, cosmic energy, the force of spirit bursting in every cell of your being. It cannot be contained. Just allow this light to wash away all that no longer serves this vibrant new beauty, which is ever reinventing itself. Even with every breath, we shift and change. Just taking a moment to feel these wheels of thought, these balls of energy, old ideas, to just wash and down into the earth to become something else. Feeling clean from the inside and the outside, with potential, like a fresh page in a book. You've got the perfect writing implement in your hand and a really strong, beautiful idea you want to get down on paper or into your computer somehow with your word processor. How about that for an old-fashioned word? Just allow yourself to be fully expressed in this moment as you feel the release of all that might have been holding you back in any area. Just feel it release from your body and flow away. And if you want to, as we've been taught from our Qigong masters, Helen Yi and Deborah Weisenberger Lippitz, just sometimes you can just take it, take the air, take the energy into your hands, turning your palms above your head, and allow yourself to be filled to overflowing with energy, with Qi. Just kind of sending yourself light, participating fully with all that we have access to in every moment. You are light. We are light. We are the light of the world. Every body, cell beams with this light. As Yogananda would say, their tiny mouths all are drinking. Their tiny mouths all are shining. Drink, drink, drink of this light. And may it light your way through the consciousness of your mind as you think new thoughts, materializing the new self into being, or new ways of being through this self with which we're familiar. Taking one more breath, bringing your consciousness back to the room you're in with us here. And welcome back. This morning's subject is called Catch and Release. And depending on the life experience you've had to date, catch and release can mean different things to different people. Perhaps if you love to fish, there are times when you've gone fishing where you catch a fish just for the sport of catching the fish and release it back to the water. Or like me, I'm not much into fishing, but I can appreciate the stillness and the quiet it takes to attract a fish to come close by. It's kind of meditative for a lot of people. I know people who watch fishing on television. Let's take some relaxation right there. I don't know. Try to stay awake during that. But for me, I remember being a kid playing the game Catch and Release, or Release. Some people call it tag. And I think of it like that. Like that was one of the favorite games we would play when all the cousins would get together for somebody's birthday and the in the summer when we'd be outside playing release. And I think about catch and release in terms of thoughts and how it is just like that game of catch and release. To play release, you had one person who was it. And the idea was they had to run around and try to touch you, bring you to the base where you weren't allowed to play anymore. You had to just sit it out. Unless somebody could get to the base where all the cousins would be holed up because they were caught by the fastest cousin who happened to be it that time. And you'd have to stay there until somebody else could run past the fastest one and tag as many of you as possible to free you so that you were back in the game. And it was quite fun. And I could just remember, varying ages and varying skill levels. And it reminds me of the mind and thoughts. But there was always that one kid who was kind of smarter than everybody else when it came to this game and a little faster, maybe a little older. But what fascinated me about that was you could treat that player almost exactly the way you could treat one of the little kids. You could fool them easy because they thought they knew better. Do you know the kid like that who thought they knew exactly what you were going to do and they could just catch you? And I started to think about, if you grew up in a house where you could make a circle through the rooms, you could run from the dining room through the living room, down the hall, back and through the kitchen, and just, you could play it tag. And once the little kids started to come, the aunties like me, we would like to, for better or worse, chase the little ones because they liked it. We would let them chase us and we would chase them. And the only time it was perilous is if you had socks on a hardwood floor coming around too fast. It was usually game over at that point. But you get the idea. But the way to catch a little kid was so easy because all you'd have to do is just take off running like you were going to run really fast in one direction. And they'd come full throttle chasing me, you, if you were doing this too. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that did this. I doubt it. All you'd have to do is turn around and they'd run right into you and you'd catch them and scream. It would be this squealing delight. Just so much fun, right? Maybe you do this with your pets too. But I thought, to catch an experienced game player like this, sometimes I would take off running like I was going to go run after somebody else. And my one cousin would run kind of after me, figuring if he's always behind me, I'm not going to catch him. So I took off running one direction and he ran behind me and I think he was going to hide behind a tree that I had just passed. But before he got that far, I noticed this is what he would do when I'd be in the base, when I'd get caught by somebody else. I watched the way he played. And when I took off running and he took off running, I turned around really fast and I just grabbed him. And we both started laughing because he couldn't believe that he got caught like that. It was so with him in home base, the likelihood of somebody else getting freed by him, which was always the thing. If he was out roaming around, he'd always keep freeing the ones that you'd catch or that I'd catch. So that was it. I got to catch everybody. I kind of won that game that summer. It was like the legendary summer that somebody beat this cousin at this game. What did I do differently? I observed his method of play, and it was interesting to me that I could catch a child, a tiny novice, and somebody who was experienced the exact same way. What am I saying? What I'm saying is the game of thought. If we apply this idea to catch and release with a game of thought, and I started to contemplate which thoughts catch me and which thoughts do I catch? Which thoughts release me and which thoughts can I release to be able to catch more of the more positive thoughts? But in this game of catch and release with my cousin, I realized that to catch a novice and to catch an expert at the same way meant that the game I was playing was too small. I was playing on the surface of the game where the rules are kind of predictable, not very deep, not very meaningful. And I wanted to get out of these busy thoughts on the surface of my consciousness, sort of like the surface of any body of water. It's always a little more rough on the top. So are these erroneous thoughts that run around. We can catch some easily and put them aside. but also some thoughts cluster together, kind of like droplets of water cluster to create a wave ruffling up the surface of the ocean. In paying attention to these thoughts and how they run around in my mind, I was able to catch them and just sit with them for a moment, contemplate their movement, how they play through the game of my consciousness, how they catch me. Sometimes these thoughts would catch me and have me then operate in a particular way because I was being ruled by this one thought. Or maybe it was, again, like a cluster of thoughts that gang together. Like if you had a couple other cousins and my siblings as well, trying to team up on the outside to free a thought, or team up to try to catch the fastest one so that they'd be out of the game. So we have thoughts that kind of go together, either working for us or against us. And then we have the consciousness that can watch the whole game. And once we can start operating from that higher level, that deeper level of consciousness, we can see what's going on in the game and start to catch these thoughts before they catch us, to catch them before they catch us. So these deeper thoughts, just like the water, if you dive deep under the ocean's surface, all the waves are moving up here with the droplets and the foam and all these crazy thoughts running wild. If you could dive deeper to get into the real game of consciousness, where we can be successful at contemplating our next move, we can catch the thought we would like to have. Sometimes catching that thought to release our soul, we use affirmations, a thought that kind of trains our mind to think in a particular way. But it's not just thinking in a particular way. That thought creates a ripple of energy, and that energy releases other thoughts, other energies to come into the field of play to help us release our soul and bring it forth, to bring it forth in a new way. So like following this river of consciousness that takes us to the seat of our own soul. So likening the person who's it to the one who's trying to catch us all the time. Do you ever have a thought where as soon as you think it, it changes your mood? Like, or, sometimes holidays can bring that up. I bring this up because I'd like for you to just take some time this week. This is what I did on the weekend, and just contemplate what came into play. If you were able to be with family, or if you weren't able to be with family, contemplate what kinds of thoughts came up. Did they release you from old ways of thinking and being? Or did they catch you and keep you? Was it a combination? As we round into the new year, 2021, 2020 was an interesting year, and there was a lot of optimism as we rolled into 2020, because it's just like, we're going to be able to see clearly. And haven't we learned a lot this year? I think we're seeing some things more clearly than we ever have, and it's bringing forth some thoughts that are catching us. But which thoughts can we use and create through positive affirmations, through meditation, through new ways of being? Which thoughts can we catch to help us release other thoughts? And can we do this on a daily basis? Next week, we're going to talk about ever new joy, bringing into this new year, every single day being a new day, not carrying thoughts from yesterday into today, but allowing ourselves to be as if every day we're born anew. Scriptures tell us that, old ancient writings tell us that, the Buddha tells us this. So many philosophies which were created from people who've just come alive. That's our invitation with SoulCall, is you are your own religion. You are your own philosopher. You will begin to channel the infinite yourself through the language of your own heart. And if people love what you bring forth, that's wonderful. But allow yourself to release that beauty and that passion that is you. I like having some guides along the way. that help us, that give us the encouragement. Just like when you're learning a new skill, maybe you're learning how to play an instrument, or you're learning a new, something in school. Maybe you're studying something brand new. It's nice to have people who have mastered it along the way to show you how to do it, a particular way of practicing based on the way you approach an instrument, perhaps. They could show you some little things that just help you to become fully realized, self-realized, and enjoy the instrument more, enjoy the expression of your music coming out a little bit more. So in 2020, we certainly had the carpet rolled back on a lot of dust. We had the light that was shining on a lot of things that were dark and in the shadows that maybe we kind of knew were going on, but it was easy to look the other way. Now we see it all. So in 2021, I think we began the cleanup, dare I say, of our consciousness, so that these things that are in the world start to transcend, transform, and become more subtle in their vibration as we move into an age of enlightenment, the likes of which this world has not seen yet. We are constantly evolving. And it's really hard to get to a point where you feel like it's just this homeostasis. The homeostasis point is when your mind idles on love, idles on God, when no thought is thinking, and the only thought or the only feeling, the only experience is oneness with God, that bliss. That's kind of what this game is like. When you stop thinking anything and your mind idles on God, that's what the Buddha was saying. That's what Jesus was saying. That's what it's like to live every new day, to play catch and release with the things we make use of. Not just our thoughts. Maybe it's a material element to give us that daily that which we need. The Quran says that. Jesus said it. Hinduism has a version of that too. If we live for each day, and within each moment we had our consciousness firmly resonating with the infinite within each moment of each day, we start to string these pearls of wisdom on the string of our lives. And what a beautiful ornament on the soul of our being. This beautiful body is not to be denied. We're going to talk about that next week. It's to be, put in the game. So if I say tag, you're it. You're it. It's your turn to catch your thoughts. Sit with them for a moment. Contemplate the way you're playing the game in your own consciousness for a moment. And allow yourself to evaluate the qualities of that thought. Are they serving you or just themselves? Or are they serving to keep you in a place where you can't be released? So which thoughts are catching you? Which thoughts are releasing you? Which thought can you catch that helps to release you all the time? I want to offer you some tools to use where you can play whenever you play the game of catch and release, and you're playing it at the same time. When you're playing catch and release at the same time. In other words, you're the conscious observer, a contemplative participant in your life. That becomes meditation. And that meditation leads to self-realization, leads to the awakened one. Burning in the flame, the heart of the awakened one. So how to develop catch and release thinking. Here are a couple little tools. And I'm going to put these in the newsletter for the thought of the week. One is to minimize screen time, especially first thing in the morning and 30 minutes before you go to sleep. Part of that is, child development taught me a couple of things. Things I'll never forget. When children are watching video games, the video makers hired developmental psychologists to watch children play video games. You might have heard me say this before. But what they were instructed to do was just mark the times where the children seemed to look away from the screen. And they kept track of this. And what they recognized is if they could just insert something brand new into the frame, anything in the frame already, doesn't have to be a whole new frame, just a dog comes in. It trips up the amygdala and the cortisol, and it trips up our fight or flight is another way of saying it. Just because we have to take note of what just happened. Is it safe? Is it not safe? Even if it's on a screen, we have to look at what it is. So think about, remember when we could go out to restaurants and they started putting television sets in restaurants, some restaurants and bars. You'd be sitting across a table from a friend talking, and say the screen is right behind them. They'd be listening to you and they just keep looking up sometimes. Maybe you've done that. It's almost like you can't help it. It's tripped to. So what they would do is put a new thing in the frame to keep the kids glued to the screen. And so that's what's happening with our social media and just anything on the screen. Maybe you're reading a newspaper article, and in between the article, I know in the New York Times they do this, there's an ad. You're reading more and there's another ad and another ad. It's just something to break your thoughts. So it's difficult to think those deep under the ocean, those long, deep thoughts when we keep getting tripped up. So minimizing screen time will help us create the opportunity for a nice long thought. Develop a meditation practice. We could talk more about that on another time. Read good books and inspirational offerings and carefully digest their message. Recognize when you're reading and all of a sudden you're just sounding out words, but you don't really comprehend what you've read. Allow yourself to stop and go back. Start again. And then carefully think about what you've read. Yogananda used to say, if you read for 1 hour, write for 2 hours, and reflect for 3 hours, he'd say this is the way to properly attain a mind capable of reason. So if you read for an hour, write for 2 hours, contemplate for 3 hours. And it helps us to develop long thoughts, reasoning, and be in control of ourselves. And use affirmations uttered with soul force to develop the power of your mind. Ancient and modern psychologists have pointed out that the innate intelligence of the human mind is capable of infinite expansion. So don't become like a parrot that just says your affirmations and like whip through them as quickly as you can. Say them with all your might. I call it all your might thinking. It's very powerful. And then I always like to add, laugh every day. Laughter disrupts any patterns and it opens us up, that infinite expansion. Laughter is such a precious gift to us. And if it's hard to find that joy within or bring forth laughter from the self, find someone whose humor is intelligent and who just makes you laugh. Whatever it is that makes you laugh, laugh. Allow yourself to laugh. And as we enter in the final days of 2020, may we have the wisdom to see with 2020 vision which thoughts catch us and which release us into a greater love, a more awakened state of being. This kind of leads us into this way of the heart of the mystic. If you haven't signed up for our class, it's a love offering based. It's Tuesday evenings and Wednesday mornings. I'll talk about it more coming up starting January 5th, what the mystics know. It's going to be a deep dive into your own being, using the book, What the Mystics Know. And I'm going to intersperse it with some mysticism from a lot of world philosophies and some of my own to bring forth some of your own. And we'll have this opportunity to share too. But one really fun thing we're going to be doing this coming week, again, in the heart of the mystic and catching and releasing. We're going to set ourselves up on December 30th with a Zikr with Sheikh Kabir Helminski. But then Natalia, Reverend Christy, and I on New Year's Eve are going to do a visioning where we catch and release. We're going to practice the catching and releasing of consciousness, bringing forth a new vision. And that's going to be 7 o'clock. And I'll say these again right after we experience a dynamo powerhouse singer and our dear friend Amy Bishop, called Just Like Her, and that courageous going with the flow of the river of life.
Here I stand at the water's edge, watching the river run through. turns, no telling what that river might do. Bravely she moves, not knowing what's ahead, not knowing what awaits in the end. Just like her, I follow my road, not knowing what's around the next bend. Oh, 'cause I am deep and I'm wild and I'm strong. I am blessed with a place to belong, and I can be counted on to always deliver, just like the river. Here I stand, facing the wind, looking at the mountainside. That mountain peak seems so far away, so far and too high to climb. One inch at a time, that mountain she rises, reaching for her higher view. Just like her, I reach for my goals, and I reach to find my dream come true. Whoa. I am beautiful, majestic, and wise. Oh, I stand strong between the earth and the skies, and I am a place to refuel and start again, just like the mountain. Here I stand, toes in the sand, listening to the ocean flow. She's drawn by the moon, singing a tune. That ocean, she's got nothing to prove. The ocean is deep, the ocean is wild, reaching far beyond my view. Just like her, I shift and I move, each crashing wave's alive, make new. Whoa. 'Cause I am as constant as the swelling tide. I believe there's nothing about me that I need to hide, and I live a life that is always in motion, just like the ocean, just like her, reaching far beyond my view. Hey, hey.
Oh my God, don't you just love Amy Bishop? She's amazing. Thank you for joining us and sending us that music, Amy. We appreciate it. It was perfect for today's talk of just catching and releasing, playing catch and release with your own consciousness. Outsmart the fastest one, the one that always seems to get through when you're ready. And you give it the old shake and bake, catch it, put it where it belongs, and allow your deeper thoughts to swell up from within you and to cover your consciousness with that love and that light. So we thank you wherever you are for all the donations that poured in conjunction with Jazz Up the Holidays and our Soul Squad fundraiser. We've exceeded our goal, which was $5,000. We hit $7,500. And with that, we were able to assist many families. Over 100 different people were touched by your generosity, and SoulCall Ministries and our global community. I couldn't be more proud and grateful for the consciousness we get to share and distribute with our wisdom guided wells. So with that, soulcallministries.org/donate. It is your donations that keep us going. And we appreciate no donation is too small or too big. We appreciate all of it. We're still waiting for that donor match, our 7,500. If it's you or a couple of you out there that can match our 7,500 and help us to help some more families through the next couple of months, while aid, hopefully they get it together and can distribute some more aid just to help people to put food on the table. We've got the avenues to distribute those funds, and we appreciate your help. Also, if you're in need of prayer, please let us pray with you and for you. Thank you to all of you who have given us this humble honor to serve in this way. It's prayers@soulcallministries.org. Prayers@soulcallministries.org. And this Tuesday, we have our Soul Call Sunday Rewind, Walking the Talk, from 6 to 6:45. You'll have to register online to get the Zoom link to come into the Zoom room with me, and where we talk about some of the concepts that came up today in today's talk and how you might employ some of these ideas in your life. And just, it's a great way to meet our conscious global community. Many of you come in and we get to meet each other who are in different countries, different cities, and right here in Columbus too. So join us this week, Wednesday, December 30th, for Wisdom Wednesday in the evening. It's a very, very special soul sessions with Sheikh Kabir Helminski. He's going to take us through what they call a zikr, which is the Sufi dance and prayer of remembrance. And if you've never experienced zikr before, it is deeply powerful. It's a transformational experience. You can have the experience of God. A lot of people like to talk about what God is, what God isn't, how to describe God. And that's an intellectual pursuit. You'll never get there like that. I'm just going to say it. God is to be experienced. It's nice to talk about the experience, but it leaves us without describing that. Feel it for yourself. Join us. It's a love offering basis. Again, it's open. So you have to register online at soulcallministries.org/events to get the link to come into the Zoom room with us. And that's Wednesday, December 30th at 7 p.m. And then Thursday, December 31st, what are you doing New Year's Eve? We're going to be together in the Zoom, creating an experience of catching the vision for your own life. I'll be joined with Reverend Christy Hardwick and Natalia Zuckerman, 7 p.m. You have to register at soulcallministries.org/events. It's a free love offering experience, and it's going to be quite spectacular. Sharing our gifts will be part of it, but do join us, ringing in, out with the old, in with the new. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Natalia, we're going to do some kind of a dance party at the end, or at least have some music up for people to dance if they want to. You can dance if you want to. Yay! There it is. You're not going to want to miss it. So join us. And also, I want to remind you, there is a spectacular class I'm so humbled to offer with Reverend David Leonard starting January 5th, What the Mystics Know. Again, it's a love offering based class. We have two options for you, Tuesday evenings or Wednesday mornings. And so you can find out more about that, soulcallministries.org/classes. And it's coming right up. January 5th is next. It's coming right up. So register. You'll get all the information you need. You'll need to get the book, What the Mystics Know. And I'll be weaving in some mysticism from other world faith traditions and helping to uncover the mystic within you, that experiential understanding, that experiential awareness of the Godhead. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you to all of you who help keep Soul Call going, our Soul Squad, our prayer team. And we welcome you again next week, but for all the things this week. And just remember that no matter where you are or what is happening in your life, you are loved. Peace and blessings.